everybody. So good to see you here today. And this is our usual every Thursday, People, Travel, and Culture. I hope you have a good time with us last week where we traveled to Russia, to Moscow, and we have a great time talking to our lovely guy, a good friend of ours by the name of Vera. I'm so glad that a lot of you actually comment on our Facebook live session and you have a great time with us. And this week, oh, I'm so excited about this week. This week, we're going to another parts of Europe. We are going to Austria to a very lovely town by the name of Salzburg, which is very popular. And this is the place where they filmed the movie Sound of Music. And this time, we have a special guest with us by the name of Miss Trudy. She's a personal friend of mine. We have a great time with her every time we travel to Salzburg. We enjoy her hospitality. And one thing that is great about her is that she is also very good in singing Sound of Music. And today, we are going to have a virtual tour with us to Salzburg. And without any further delay, let's go to Salzburg, Austria. Hi, Trudy. Okay. How are you doing?
Hi, Joshua. Nice to see you after such a long time.
Oh, that's so true. I miss traveling. I miss Salzburg. I miss you. And yeah. What a year.
And I miss seeing all my groups so much, all my lovely groups from Malaysia and singing and in the Mirabelle Gardens. I miss it so much.
That's true. You know, that was always a wonderful time, the singing in Mirabelle Garden. I can never forget that. Yeah. How's the weather in Salzburg now? Is it spring now?
Yeah, well, you know, it's May, so we say in Austria, yeah, it may rain, it may snow, it may be sunshine. Yesterday we had beautiful sunshine and 30 degrees Celsius. Today it's really raining and about 11 degrees. And only about 10 days ago we had snow.
10 days ago you have snow?
Yes, in the city. Yeah.
Wow. You know, I still remember there's this saying, I can't remember exactly, but only until a certain time of the year that you will take out all the flowers and leave it at the balcony.
Yes.
When was it exactly?
The middle of May, 15th of May. Yeah, you don't put the flowers out on the balconies until the 15th of May.
That is where you're sure that the weather is going to be all right.
Supposedly, yes. Yeah.
So how's the situation in Salzburg, in Austria, you know, especially with the COVID?
Well, now we have some good news that from next week on the 19th of May, things are starting to open up. Hotels will open at last. But of course, the hotels need the tourists to come and visit. So some rules are being relaxed. Some festivals are being allowed to happen. And I can then also start giving tours from next week too, from the 19th.
Wow.
And we currently have about, I think it was 30, about 27,000 cases, something like that. But the percentage rate in the last 7 days is under 100 now. So this is really good news. We haven't been in this good situation since last October. So actually, it's much better. The shops are all open. All the shops are open. You can go in the shops. You just have to wear a FFP2 mask. So not just the normal mask, but the FFP2 one. But otherwise, you can go in. It's not a problem. If you want to have your hair cut, then you also have to have a FFP2 mask, and you also have to have a negative test beforehand to show the hairdresser. So it's quite strict. Yeah.
You need a test in order to go for a haircut.
The tests are all free. And you can get them at lots of the chemists do test, the pharmacies, And so you can go and get a test free, it's no problem. And then you can go to the hairdresser, or for the ladies to get their nails done, or a massage or something. So you need to have a negative test. And from next week, or from the 19th, the rules are, well, in German they call it the 3G rule: getestet, genesen, or geimpft. So you either have to have a negative test, or you have to have the vaccine already, or you have to have proof that you have already had COVID and you have recovered. So therefore you can then go into the restaurants and the hotels. You have to provide that proof. So,
I see. So how is the vaccine going on?
Yeah, it's, I mean, maybe slow to some, compared to some countries, but maybe fast compared to others. Currently, they're vaccinating still all over 65s. Although I have some friends who are under 65, they've had the vaccine. I'm hoping myself, as I'm not nearly 65 yet, but I'm hoping
40s.
Yes, thank you.
You look young always.
I'm 51, and I hope, because I live opposite my doctor, and I said to them, look, if you have any vaccines left over, just call me, I can be there in 2 minutes. And so they think probably in the next week or two I will maybe get the vaccine. So
that's good news. Oh, I feel like moving to Salzburg. You know, must be the water or must be the weather. You look young always. You have not changed since a few years that we met before.
Oh, I love you.
I'm not joking. I'm serious. You know, I love Salzburg. You know, just now when I was flipping through the photos, you know, I miss them so much. Oh, I miss such a lovely place.
But
so
I'm
good.
so lucky to live here. You know, I traveled. I left the UK in 1988. And I lived and worked in, I think, 11 different countries I lived in, traveled to many, many more. When I came to Austria, I just said, this is perfect. Let's stay here for a bit. And well, yeah, now I've been here since 2003. So it must have something.
In 11 countries. You lived in 11 countries before.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, I always say you live 3 times or 5 times more than normal people, you know, for the same span of life.
Well, it's so much of the world to see, and it's such a shame just to only see a small part of it. You have to go and discover lots of others, and it opens your mind to so many things. And for Austria, of course, the Sound of Music brings lots of people to Salzburg. Mozart still brings him, so brings the people. Yeah, it's all about the marketing.
True.
If you see it on TV, then you believe it. It's like everyone thinks sharks are really nasty, scary creatures because they watched Jaws, and they think dolphins are so cute because they watched Flipper.
That's a good one. I like that. Maybe you can give us a little bit of details or some intro about Austria and also Salzburg.
Yeah, well,
a lot of travelers like to hear.
Small country and right in the heart of Europe. It's surrounded by 7 countries. So we have a lot of multicultural, 8 countries. Oh, now I have to think. I haven't done a tour for so long. It's surrounded by 8 other countries. And so we're quite multicultural. We soak up these other cultures from the surrounding countries. And we have just not quite 9 million people in Austria, so very small. We have a really nice standard of living here. It's quite a rich country in Europe. You know, when I compare it to other countries that I've been to, then you know the standards are very high. I feel. We have a very good national health service, for example. The roads, the buildings, they're all very well maintained. German is the official language in Austria, but don't call the Austrians Germans. This is the biggest insult to an Austrian, is to ask them, are you German? Yeah, it's a little bit like if you ask a Scottish person, are you English? They really don't know. I know, because I'm half Scottish. So yeah, we have the Austrians are traditionally a very Catholic country, so still around 75% Catholic. And although I'm not particularly religious, I like the things that it comes with it here in Austria, that there's this real sense of community. They do a lot of things in the community. A lot of those stem from the church, but are not necessarily religious now. But lots of festivals, especially in the summer, everybody's out in the beer tents and beer gardens. And the beer tent and beer garden thing, it's not like in the UK where you have to drink lots and then punch everybody. Here it's a very family environment. The children go to all the beer festivals because it's not about getting drunk and being violent. It's about socializing, having fun. But everything is a nice festival time, and yeah, very, very relaxed, but still with lots of organization. So typical kind of German organization. Everything works. So it's but lots of different festivals. And at this time of the year too, we have lots of religious festivals. All the religious holidays are public holidays. So you get a day off work, unless you're self-employed like me.
And I heard you have good quality of water as well in Austria.
Perfect quality of water. It comes straight down from the mountains. Everybody drinks from the taps, unless you want fizzy water. But then we usually have these machines to just make the tap water fizzy. Close to Salzburg, we have our lake district, the Salzkammergut, with 76 lakes. And well, the water quality is so good in the lakes, they say you can actually drink the water from the lakes.
Wow.
Because this is good water quality.
I see. Interesting. And,
yeah.
you know, like there must be some reason why you like Salzburg much, that you decided to stay in Salzburg.
Well,
maybe you can share with us why you fall in love in Salzburg. Sorry?
Yeah, everybody always says, so did you fall in love when you came to Austria? And I say, yes, I fell in love in Austria, not with a man or indeed a woman or anything else. But I fell in love with the country. I like the lifestyle. I like that it's in Central Europe, so it's easy to get to places. The public transport system is really, really good, infrastructure, but just the beautiful countryside. Everything is so green. Of course, we need rain to make it green, but we have the proper 4 seasons here. So in winter, it's everything is like winter wonderland with so much snow. It's so beautiful. Of course, you can go skiing too. Spring, all the little flowers start coming out. It's really, really pretty. Summer, so lush and green everywhere. But actually, my favorite time of the year is September, October for autumn, when we have all the leaves changing colors with the golds, the browns, the yellows, reds, russet. It's just absolutely stunning. And especially in the Lake District, where you have the turquoise blue of the lakes, then the gray of the mountains dropping straight into the lake, maybe a little snow-capped icing sugar on the top, and all those beautiful colors of autumn. It's just magical.
I can feel it. It's so magical right now. I can hear from your expression. Bro, I can't, you know, a lot of people say there's a norm now that we are not allowed to travel. We stay at home all the time. You know, that's definitely not going to happen. That's crazy.
Yeah. but I hope soon things will start to open up and everybody can travel again. Now, if you can't travel, at least you can save your money and then plan everything and research, so you can see, okay, when I go to Austria, I really have to see this, and what's the first place I want to see in the world, and compare all the photos and do some research and see which place is for you on which trip. But of course, Austria is home to music, to Mozart, to Sound of Music. We have lots of folk music too, where you hear lots of the yodeling. That tends to be more in the countryside, not so much in Salzburg, because Salzburg's a little bit of a snobby city sometimes. So they like their Mozart and their classical music. They have the wonderful music festivals, well, throughout the year, but the most famous in July and August.
And it's also a birthplace of Mozart, Salzburg?
Salzburg is the birthplace of Mozart, yes. He was born here in 1756. And where he was born, his birthplace is now a museum, so you can visit. The family just had 3 rooms, so it was very small, not 3 bedrooms, just 3 rooms, 1 bedroom, a living room, and a study. So the kitchen was out in the hallway. And well, of course, you might notice I didn't say a bathroom, because in Mozart's days, 1756 he was born.
Every time when I every time when I arrive in Salzburg, I'm a big fan of Sound of Music myself. I love Sound of Music. And every time when I arrive in Salzburg, the first place I can't wait to go there, I'm looking forward so much to visit, is the Mirabelle Garden. Especially the backdrop is so wonderful. Maybe you can explain a little bit with us, what are the places of, what are the interesting places in Mirabelle Garden?
The Mirabelle Gardens is just absolutely beautiful, full of color. The gardeners are always working to change the flower beds around. So it's worth seeing any time of the year. Even in the winter, they have winter pansies in there. So it's always so beautifully manicured. And of course, the Mirabelle Gardens was the setting for several scenes from Do Re Mi in The Sound of Music. And so, of course, I like to sing with my guests as we go through the Mirabelle Gardens. And quite interestingly, the Mirabelle Gardens are at the back of the Mirabelle Palace. And the Mirabelle Palace is now full of government offices. And it's where our mayor of Salzburg has his office. And I'm sure he must sit in his office every day and start to hear me and think, oh no, it's that British woman again coming through singing with all her guests. Because, well, maybe you can help me let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. When you read, you begin with
Do, Re, Mi.
ABC. When you sing, you begin with Do, Re, Mi. Do, Re, Mi. The first 3 notes just happen to be Do, Re, Mi. Do, Re,
Mi. Do,
Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti. Maybe I have to make it easier. Do. A deer, a female deer, Ray, a drop of golden sun. Me, a name I call myself, far a long, long way to run. So, a needle pulling thread, La, a note to follow, so. D, a drink with jam and bread, that will bring us back to do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, so, do. Ooh, I'm out of practice.
So good.
I haven't sung it. Yeah.
The moment of us singing together in Mirabelle Garden is so magical and so dramatic, and I can never forget. It's really an experience of a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
we
really
stand on the
wonderful.
steps where Julie Andrews stood like this. We walk through the hedge-covered walkway where they all skipped and danced through, all the children. You have the fortress in the background. It's just beautiful. The big fountain that they marched all around either side, the Pegasus fountain. It's just beautiful. And the minute you see the picture of the Mirabelle Gardens, then the Sound of Music comes flooding back.
True.
Yeah.
And you must be very passionate about Sound of Music, because I saw on your Facebook and website that you actually it's called Sound of Trudy. Is that right? It's your.
That's right. Yes.
That's
Well,
so
I
lovely.
do all sorts of tours in and around Salzburg on different themes, depending on what people want. As some people, believe it or not, some people don't like the Sound of Music, so then I don't mention anything about it. But it's a passion of mine. I was a wannabe, and but I know my limits, and I love musicals, especially the Sound of Music. But I love all the different musicals.
And Trudy, I remember there's also a very one of the places that I always remember is a bridge. There's this beautiful bridge where you can see a nice setting of Salzburg town. Maybe you can share with us
Yes,
a little bit about the bridge.
the bridge, it's called the Makat Bridge. I think this is the one you're talking about, which has all the love locks all over them.
That's right.
Because, well, it's a story, they do it all over the world now, that couples like to show their commitment to one another. So they take a padlock and maybe write or engrave their names or initials on it, maybe a date that's special to them when they met or got married. And to show their commitment to one another, they close the padlock onto the bridge and throw the keys into the river. Although I have seen quite a few combination locks. I think those are the ones with the prenuptial agreement, get out of jail. But the bridge is covered with all these padlocks. They have to really take some off from time to time because it gets too heavy. And from this bridge, Makat Bridge, it's named after an Austrian painter, Hans Makat. Or my colleagues say a famous Austrian painter, but I guess he's only famous if you're either Austrian or maybe in the art world. But from this bridge, you have a beautiful view of the fortress perched up on high, dominating the skyline of Salzburg with all the many spires of the churches. And the fortress, they started building it in 1077. So this is a very historical town or city, about 150,000 people. So, but very small. You can walk around it and see pretty much everything in a day. It's really great.
If there's a chance I get to choose a place to live, Salzburg is definitely in the list. I would love to stay there at least for a year. So beautiful, especially the pedestrian walk with all the shopping. It's so nice.
Yes, the main shopping street with the Getreidegasse that has all the wrought iron signs outside with pictures in to tell you what the shop is selling. And
it's so beautiful.
So very traditional still. There, of course, you can still find modern things. We have, supermarkets and everything. It's still very modern, but still very traditional. The shops are still closed on Sundays, because in Austria the family is very important, and so Sunday is the one day the family can all be together. And I quite like that. For me, it doesn't matter which day of the week, if it's Sunday, Friday, Tuesday, but one day a week that all the family can be together. You see them out in the park in the summer playing football, having picnics, or in the winter maybe skiing or maybe cycling together, and they all have this big family thing.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I still remember there's also the golden ball.
Yes,
and
the
it's also
man
a
on
very
the
important
golden
place.
ball. Yes, the man on the golden ball. This is a piece of modern art. He stood underneath the fortress, And quite interestingly, actually, the same artist, Stefan Balkenhall, German artist, he also has a very similar piece in Edinburgh, in Scotland. And actually, Salzburg and Edinburgh are often compared because they both have this big castle or fortress and the lovely little narrow cobbled streets running underneath. So yeah, quite interesting that he has a similar piece of artwork in both cities.
Wow. And there is a funicular where we can take and then it will go straight to the top and get a view of the city.
Yeah, the funicular railway, like a little train on steps, can take you up to the fortress in under 1 minute. Of course, you can walk, but yeah, not if you're like me, then you take the funicular railway.
Me too. Oh, so beautiful. And if there's just a few, maybe one or two culture that you would like to describe, or you think that is very applicable to Austria or to Salzburg, what would they be? I mean, one of them is definitely the family.
Yes, of course, one of my favorite things, pardon the pun from Sound of Music, but one of my favorite things is food and drink. And of course, this plays quite a big role in Austria, which is why at the moment it's so sad that the restaurants are not allowed to open, only for takeaways. But we have lots of different foods that are typical for Austria. Of course, most people hear about the Vena Schnitzel, which is schnitzel from Vienna. However, it doesn't actually come from Austria. It originally came from Italy, where it's known as cotoletta alla milanese, cutlet from Milan. And so it's tradition to have Wiener Schnitzel with some form of potato. The schnitzel itself is traditionally veal, but often these days they serve as pork or maybe chicken or turkey. And the meat is flattened out, wrapped in breadcrumbs, fried in butter, and with a big dollop of cranberry sauce. And as I said, some form of potato. But lots of different foods, different kinds of schnitzel too, mushroom schnitzel, the Jäger schnitzel, hunter schnitzel. Of course, in Salzburg, we have very traditional thing because in Austria, you know, we do have a very sweet tooth, except for me. Coffee and cake is very much a tradition in Austria, almost law. You have to have at least one cake a day. And in Austria, it's not really a cake, it's a dessert that is very special. It's called the Salzburger Knuckle. And you have to have time to have this because it takes about 20-25 minutes to cook. They have to cook it fresh because it's made with lots of egg whites, whisked up, all nice and light and fluffy, and put in the oven so it rises, a little bit like a souffle. And when it comes out of the oven, it's supposed to look like the mountains around Salzburg, as we're really in the heart of the mountains here. Depends on people's recipe, but most places where I've had it, then you get fruits of the forest underneath all this light fluffiness. And I quite like fruits of the forest, you know, all the different berries. So it takes away the sweetness from the egg whites. So it's really good, but very light and fluffy. So it means you can eat lots of it.
Oh, that's so lovely. Oh, talking about food, Austrian, I miss the food. I miss and
yeah,
especially apple strudel as well. Is that
of course, the apple strudel with, well, you know, of course the song says crisp apple strudel, but it's not traditionally, it's not really crisp. And we don't eat schnitzel with noodles, that only rhymed in the song. But the apple strudel is so good. And you can have it, of course, with cream, ice cream, or my favorite way with the hot vanilla sauce, which is like custard. It's really good. And of course, in Salzburg, we are home too to the Mozart Kugel, which, well, literally translates to Mozart's balls. As back in the 1800s, a gentleman called Paul Fürst took a little piece of pistachio marzipan, wrapped it in truffle and dipped it in chocolate and called it the Mozart's balls. And
Oh,
so
that's
they're
so
still
nice.
handmade today in Salzburg. They're not very cheap. They're quite expensive because they are handmade, but I mean, you can buy the commercially produced ones, which are much more on a budget. But yeah, maybe you have to try one of the original ones.
Oh, that's like my favorite. Every time I'm in Salzburg, it's like a must that I must try it myself. I love it very
Yeah.
much. Yeah. And the other thing that made me very, very what you call it, miss Salzburg is also the Christmas market. I think Salzburg has got one of the most beautiful Christmas market in the world, I would say.
Well, I've been to many different Christmas markets in many countries, and I just love it here. It's so magical. It's traditional. You know, we have quite strict rules at the Christmas market in Salzburg. It's almost what I call the Christmas market police. They go around to check on what is being sold, and if it's too cheesy or tacky, then the people cannot come back and sell the next year.
Okay.
And these market stalls, they have been in the family for generations, and it's really difficult to get into the Christmas market to start to sell your wares. And they have all different kinds of crafts, handicrafts, wooden things, woolen things. Of course, lots to keep you fed and watered. Lots of the hot mulled Glühwein, the hot mulled wine, all sorts of different specialities to try to keep you warm, of course, because, you know, in wintertime it's very cold here. Hopefully we get a sprinkle of snow because it adds to the magic. But all these decorated little huts, wooden huts, set around in small courtyards or bigger squares, and just the atmosphere. You know, there's Christmas music playing, and when I say Christmas music, I'm not talking about Slade of "So here it is, Merry Christmas." You know, it's really traditional Advent family kind of Christmas music. It's just so beautiful, and you
Yes.
feel like you've stepped into a postcard.
Yes.
And you know, some of those things you see on the Disney films, we actually have them in real life here.
Yeah, that's true.
Hallstatt, for example, close by, is where they based Frozen on the town of Hallstatt.
Oh,
So it's just so magical.
that's so
It,
true. You
it
know,
doesn't look
I hope
real.
you can bring me to Austria now, to Salzburg now. Oh
On a
no.
plane.
So nice talking to you. What a great chat. And you know, I wish we can see you next year. And I always say is traveling is in the blood. That is
Yeah,
what makes
yeah,
life wonderful. I believe
yeah.
we are very, very close. Nice talking to you, Trudy, and
You too.
send my regards to your family, and hope to see you very
Well,
soon.
yes, so long, farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
See you. Auf Wiedersehen. Thank you very much. I hope you have a good time with us, with Miss Trudy, where we travel to Salzburg, Austria, where we have a good time talking about Salzburg, about Austria, and it really melts my heart. And personally, I really enjoy, and one of the thing that I really miss about Salzburg is definitely the Christmas market during the winter time. It's truly like a fairyland. And I'm so thankful, and I appreciate your time with us this week. And I see you next week, same time, same place. But before I say goodbye, I will really encourage you all to write on the comment section, where is the place that you would like to visit the next time with us. Thank you very much. And I see you same time, same place next week in People, Travel, and Culture. Thank you.